welcome back to 100 Blocks in 2025. Today we're going to continue on with using a focus fabric and also blending color in value. So let's check out what block we're working on today. Okay, the one we're going to work on is in Tula's Modern Quilt block. It is block number 67 on page 151, and love her blending of color here. Let's move this over a little so we can see the drawing, because I think it's easier to see the drawing. And we're gonna work in small strips today. So I'm gonna make a purple block, and I cut this beautiful focus fabric out. And weirdly enough, I didn't have any purple in this dark purple. So we're gonna blend two different values. The concern that we're gonna have here, as you can see in the screen, is making sure that there's a pretty stark contrast in the striping of this block. So to get started in the block, I'm going to need a 3.5 inch by 6.5 inch rectangle of whatever my focus print is. And then let's start with our lighter block, our lighter stripes. So our two skinny stripes right here are going to be 1 inch by 3.5 inch strips. And I have cut those. We're going to start over here with the skinny strips. Okay. So I have this wider strip here in the middle, and then I have a slightly smaller strip on this side. So the strip on the outer side here is 1.5 by 3.5 inches. These are one inch by 3.5 inches. This one is 1.5 by 3.5 inches. So that's the one I'm going to put over here. And the one in the center is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So there is our wide guy in the center there. All right. And then we're going to go to our darker blocks. So I'm going to need two strips that are 1 inch by 3.5 inches. So I have those cut here. So there they are. And then this side right here is going to be 1.5 by 3.5 inches. Okay. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 2.5, 1.5, 1.5. Okay. And so we have our purple, and I think this purple that's in the center of here is kind of like a blend of these two. So it's almost like what we've done is sort of go light, medium, dark with our colors right here. But the important thing again is making sure that we have really good contrast in our stripes, because if we can't see them, what's the point of cutting these little 1 inch strips and sewing them together? Now I would recommend sewing the 4 skinny strips together and sewing the 2 sort of medium strips together and then adding them to this one rather than going from piece to piece to piece, but that's entirely up to you. You can start at one side and go to the other side. And hopefully when you stitch all 7 of these together, they're going to be exactly the same width as that one right there. If they aren't, we have a serious 1/4 inch seam allowance problem. So, but I do want to talk about this little block here. So she's got this medium here, and then she's sort of kind of got this dark here, but then this background is super dark. So that's where everything is very contrasted. So I think we did a pretty good job of contrasting our block. So let's go ahead and sew it together. And so now that I've sewn them all together, I really love the contrasting and the striping up here. Looks just like this one, minus the fact that I think her photo cut off her side here. But what I like about Tula's is she's using all of her fabrics and then her solids in here, so everything sort of blends and matches perfectly. What I like about mine is that I can make it completely from my stash. Also to mention, I just kind of casually said to you, how about you sew these 4 together and then these 2 together and then add it to the center? And I thought I should probably touch on that when I was sewing it. I'm like, they don't know why you said that. So first off, this is just my opinion. It's the way I sewed mine together. You don't have to do that at all. But the reason I did that is because these 4 are exactly the same. And when you alternate them, if for whatever the reason I made a mistake when I laid them out, all I have to do is turn the block over again. So if I sew 4 alternating strips together and 2 alternating strips together, and then I go to lay them in the block, if I've laid them down on my cutting mat or on my little block design wall, and I look at the picture and I see that they're wrong, I can just turn the units upside down and they'll be right. So my brain, because my brain naturally wants to go to English paper piecing and I want to have everything be ordered, I want to order things into units and then put the units together. But it doesn't really matter. You can sew all the way just from one side to the other and you'll get the same result. So I love that our block turned out just like the picture. I love it, absolutely. And there's nothing more satisfying than sewing 7 pieces of fabric. I think it's 7. Yep, 7 pieces of fabric together. And when you're all done, they match your bottom rectangle perfectly. So I really hope that exact thing happens for you as well, like it did for me. I'm kind of jazzed about it because it's been a long day. And so I just wanted to get this done and it worked out. I hope it works out for you. So these little blocks, little strips, little widths, whatever, with a piece of focused fabric, super easy blocks to put together. So again, if you're behind or you just need to put some color in your quilt, you can do these. They're super easy. So I hope you're enjoying, I hope you're learning a little something about blending fabrics. And you should come and join me at a retreat, but definitely join me at cabinquilters.com.